Rameshwaram, the temple which is considered as one of the cornerstones of Sanatan Dharma. When Rameshwaram temple made a rule that you have to pay money to have darshan. Can you believe this? You have to pay money to have darshan. This happened a long time back when Sethupathi kings were ruling. Okay, Sethupathi was the dynasty started after the Rama Setu was built, and the kings who took care of the Setu from that time onwards called as Sethupathi. Okay, the dynasty. You know that Sethupathi kings were the one who sent Swami Vivekananda to Chicago too. You would have heard a lot about Sethupathi kings. Okay, and this is that time when Vijaya Raghunatha Sethupathi was the king of Ramanathapuram, where the Rameshwaram comes under Ramanathapuram. The king Vijaya Raghunatha Sethupathi had two daughters. One by name Sivagami Nachiyar, who was the older daughter, and Rajalakshmi Nachiyar, who was the younger daughter. Okay, when they attained the age, Vijaya Raghunatha Sethupathi, the king, was discussing to his daughter Rajalakshmi Nachiyar about getting her married to her uncle's son. Okay, which was a very, very common tradition then. Okay, and then Rajalakshmi Nachiyar said to her dad that you are planning to marry me to uncle, but do you know that Sister Sivagami loves him? They have already a romantic desire in the heart, you know, and Vijay Raghunatha Sethupathi didn't know that time. So he said, oh, is that so? Okay, no problem. So he found an easy solution for it. He gave both the daughters to this boy. His name was Dandapani Tevar. Okay, so both Sivagami Nachiyar and Rajalakshmi Nachiyar were married to Dandapani Tevar. And then Sethupathi king, the Vijay Raghunatha Sethupathi, the king, made son-in-law, that is Dandapani Tevar, who he gave both the daughters to, as a governor of Rameshwaram. Okay, Rameshwaram is a city. So his job has been to take care of the city and the temple. You should know Rameshwaram is an island. So to go to the temple, you have to go by the boat. In those days, the free boat was going. That was sponsored by the Sethupathi king to go to the Rameshwaram temple. Okay, so whomever comes, people will be keep on coming from north, east, west, south, everywhere people will be coming to Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram temple is, if you are going to have darshan in Kasi, you are supposed to have darshan in Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is a Jyotirlinga. This is one of the major main temples of Sanatana Dharma. So people will be coming from all the directions. And this boat will take them there to have darshan, and after having the darshan, people will come back by the boat. Okay, and this was a free service provided by the king himself in those times. Now, Dandapani Tevar, the son-in-law, once he became the governor of Rameshwaram and took charge of the Rameshwaram temple, he was wondering how to increase the income of the temple, because he wanted to do lot more things to the temple. He had right heart though. Okay, he had the heart in the right place, and he wanted to know how to increase the income to the temple. So what he did was, to the free boat that was going before, he implemented a ticket of quarter anna. In those days there used to be a quarter anna. I don't know if you remember that. You're old enough to remember that. Okay, quarter anna was the ticket. Okay, so people will give quarter anna to go and have darshan and come back. Okay, this was happening, and Raja was not aware of these things, because the governor was taking care of this place, and people will be coming from all directions, and many of them, they come, poor families, Their only goal was to somehow to come to Rameshwaram. And once they come to Rameshwaram, this boat fellows will say, no, 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 no. You had to give quarter anna if you want to go and have darshan, because that's when you can use the boat. And many people who were coming on the road collecting the food, the chatram, what we call choltries used to be there, so they will be staying there, coming, the poor people reaching there somehow, and many of them will go back without having darshan. This was happening for some time, and in one of those days, a Brahman with his family came from Kashi. And he came to Rameshwaram, and he saw the boat, and he said, I want to go and have darshan. And the boat fellow said, if you want to have darshan, you have to pay a fees. It's not free no more. Okay? So if you pay the fees, we can take you. And he had a family. So he said, see, I somehow reached here because I had a prayer to come here somehow and have darshan of Shivji, where Ramji himself worshipped. You have to understand, Ramji says, while giving definition of Rameshwaram, Ramji says, Ram's Ishwar is Rameshwar. Whereas Ishwar, Bhagavan Shiv says, Ram Hi Ishwar. So it's a very, very core place for Sanatan Dharma. So he says, I want to come and have darshan of Jyotirling, the Shivji, where Ramji himself with Sita Mata worshipped here. So please take me, I don't have money. And the boat fellows reject him, saying, no, 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 no. If you have no money, then no darshan. Okay? And then this fellow was adamant, he is not going to go back. He has come from Kashi all the way. Okay? So he says, can you please say me who is the king here? So the people there says, it is Vijay Raghunatha Sethupathi, who is in the palace in Ramanathapuram. So, this man goes to meet the king, and the king had a very easy access for the people. So, he goes there and sends a message. So, the messengers go inside king's palace and they say, there is a poor Brahman who came from Kashi and he wants to meet you. So the king says, please bring him in. So the Kashi Brahman goes inside and he folds his hands and says, hey king, you know what, I come all the way from Kashi to have darshan of Shivji in Rameshwaram. But it is said that I have to pay quarter anna per person to go in the boat to have darshan. And you know what, I am a poor Brahman who comes from Kashi. Somehow I reached here and I don't have money. So I will be highly appreciative if you can donate me some money so that I can pay to the boat people and go and have darshan. And now the king was really surprised. And the king said, is that right? You had to pay money to go to the temple and have darshan? And he looked at the ministers there and asked, is that right? Minister said, yes king, it is right. You have to pay a quarter anna, a nominal fee, which goes for the development of the temple. And I didn't know that, said the king. So the minister said, it is the rule implemented by your son-in-law, and we thought you know it, and of course it is a family matter. We didn't want to make a big deal out of it. And so, if you give quarter anna, you can have darshan. So the king wanted to first settle with the Brahman. So he gave him money to go in the boat, and he said, you go and have darshan. Have darshan. May Shivji bless you. And he sent him off. Then immediately he orders the soldiers there to bring his son-in-law, that is Dandapani Tevar. Okay, he says, bring him here. So the soldiers go to Rameshwaram and get the governor of Rameshwaram, that is the son-in-law of the king, Dandapani Tevar, to Ramanathapuram, okay, to the palace. And this news reached the king's daughters, Rajalakshmi Nachiyar and Sivagami Nachiyar. And they know one thing, if dad has called our husband there to the palace, there is it's going to be very serious, and they know his life may be taken off. Okay, hanging punishment could have been given. So they think that anyway they will put him to the court and he will argue and all those things, and it will take 2 days, so within that time we can reach Rameshwaram and can meet our husband before he dies. Understand this, they are very sure of their husband's death because dad has called him for this quarter anna ticket. Okay, so now Dandapani Tevar was dragged down to Ramanathapuram palace where Vijay Raghunathabadi Sethupathi was. Okay, so he goes there and the king asked him only one question. He asked his son-in-law, did you put a quarter anna ticket for the boat? And said, no money, no darshan. The son-in-law Dandapani Tevar said, yes, I did, but I did everything for the development of the temple. And he said, no, if you are charging a devotee, who gave you right to do that? Who gave you the right in the world to send back the poor devotees who cannot afford to pay you the money? So if you refuse to give darshan even to one devotee, you are a Shiv Drohi, he says. If you are a Desha Drohi, that means if you are an anti-national, I would have sent you out of the country and made you to live. I would have given you life and throw you out of the country if you are against the country. But you are not against the country. You are a Shiv Drohi, and for Shiv Drohi, there is no other punishment other than your life shall go. And keep in mind, Vijay Raghunatha Sethupathi, the king, knows that if his son-in-law is killed, both his daughters will become widows. Okay, you have to keep these things in mind. But that was never a matter for Sethupathi Raja. If you are a Shiv Drohi, the person who stops, what Tirupati can learn here is in our Sanatana Dharma. If you stop a poor devotee from having a darshan, you are a drohi. You are a drohi of the God. That's what Vijay Raghunathabadi Sethupathi says to his son-in-law. You are a Shiv Drohi and you have no right to live. And he orders the soldiers to cut off his head. By this time, already to see him, thinking that it will take at least 2 days to go to the court and argue everything. Both his daughters from their place of residence are coming to meet their husband. But on their way itself, they have been informed that their husband has been killed already. Okay, where the older sister Shivagami came to know her husband was killed, she killed herself also. And on the way of Ramanathapuram palace, where Rajalakshmi Nachiyar came to know that her husband was killed, she also killed herself, because they both thought we could have corrected him and we didn't, and we are also equal partner in the crime, and they both killed themselves. It's a history, folks. Now, if you are going to Rameshwaram, which you should and you will, and it is a very important place where to go and worship, where Ramji with Sita Mata and Hanumanji worshipped Shivji. Okay, so if you go there, you will find a station called Akka Madam. Akka in Tamil means older sister. And another station will come, it is called Tangachi Madam. Tangachi in Tamil means younger sister. Okay, so where the older sister killed herself, that place is called Akka Madam. Where the younger sister killed herself on hearing the news that her husband has been killed is called Tangachi Madam. Okay, so you will cross those two stations while going to Rameshwaram. This is the story of Rameshwaram. This is our kings. If our devotees are being stopped, the king has no right to rule. In fact, Vijay Raghunatha Sethupathi goes to an extent of saying, you don't have right to live. And he proves it irrespective of knowing both his daughters will become widow, whereas in this case they killed themselves. So folks, I am saying you, the king or the government which is putting the rule, no money, no darshan, has no right to rule or no right to exist. This is our dharma. Do you agree with this? Please comment your opinion here. What do you think? Also share this video with as many people, and keep in mind, folks, you and me are never free till our temples are free, and our temples are never free till it is being slaved by the government, and till its property has been looted by the government, till the poor devotees are discriminated. The solution for this is only one thing, that is freeing our temple from the class of the government. If you agree, comment, like the video folks, like and subscribe to the channel and share it with as many people as you can. Okay, join hands with us to spread the message of Sanatana Dharma around the world, because with you we can reach the world. Jai Sri Ram.